Morning and welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about what do awesome dads do. Thank you for joining us on Instagram on the Nitty Gritty Cafe. And if you're on YouTube, our channel is called Learn Together. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Once again, we want to start out by saying thank you to the awesome dads who are in their children's lives. You are holding up that firm foundation that God created, and you are doing what you need to do to make sure your family is healthy mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Thank you very much. Let's get into a couple things. So this is statistics coming out of the US. It says 1 out of every 3 children live in a household that does not have a biological dad. And we will pause to say thank you so much to stepdads, uncles, brothers who step in and try to fill these roles. All I want you to know from this is that without a father role or figure in the household, all children, most of them, will not do as well as they could. Just look at the statistics. 71% of all high school dropouts are children usually who don't have a father in the household. According to this, and this is from the US statistics, 85% of youth in prison don't live with a biological father. So all of these numbers that you see on here tells us that dads, you are important. I cannot say that enough. You are so important. You are needed in your children's lives. 63% of youths who commit suicide, according to this, is coming from a home without a dad. What we're saying is, regardless of whether or not you believe these numbers that are on the screen, dads are extremely important, and we're calling on dads to make sure you are in your household, you are in your children's lives, so that you can make the impact that God wants you to make in your children's life, which is a positive impact. So, good fathers provide for their family. So, I'm going in a little bit of a different order. In the Bible, 1 Timothy 5, verse 8, it says, anyone who does not provide for their relatives and especially their own household has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So, the number one job of a father is to provide. And just as I said for the husband, it's not necessarily always just about money, but that's number one because it provides security. So he's to provide financially, but also there's the security, which is physical security, but there's also emotional security. So it's knowing that daddy will be there. Daddy is our protector. Daddy does what he says he's going to do is very important. So we need to make sure, fathers, that we are providing. And that also means you can provide the fun in the family too. Don't just leave it up to mom. Take the kids on field trips and fun things that, they can say, daddy is the one. Nothing makes my heart happier than hearing my children say, daddy is the fun parent. I don't get jealous because I want my children to know that they have a strong male figure in the household, that he is present in their lives, that he loves them, and there's that security. So make sure that you have time that you're spending with your children. I think one of the other slides we'll look at will talk about the time that you spend with your children. So provide for your children. That's number one. Financially, emotionally, and also spiritually. The father should be the spiritual leader in the household. And then it says, fathers, be your child's first teacher. So I know most of the time, reading, going to church sometimes is left up to the moms. But fathers, you are to be your child's teacher also. You are to train them up in the way that they should go. You are the one who, I like to say, the father is like the enforcer. So when mommy says, do something and the child doesn't do it, daddy comes and he says, nope, this is what you need to do. Mommy says to do it, and this is why you're going to do it. He's like the enforcer, but that's me. I like to watch a lot of movies, so that's where that is coming from. So fathers, be your child's teacher. Read the Bible with them. You know, Teach them science if you love science. You are to be their teacher. Teach them what is right from what is wrong and why. And we talk about discipline. I know in our world today, nobody likes to talk about discipline, and we're not saying you need to, we're not advocating for abusing children. No, we're firmly against that. But your children should know this is right, this is wrong, and there should be consequences for wrong behavior. So whether that is you're not going to get to play with your toys, you're not going to go on this trip, you're not going to do, there should be consequences for wrong behavior. And dad, usually you are the one, because mothers tend to be nurturers and God made us that way. Dad, usually you're a little tougher emotionally than the woman when it comes to the discipline. You are supposed to be the one that says, no, this is the rule and we go by the rule. So back up your wife, back up the moms, be their support so the children know you are a united front and what mommy says goes and what daddy says goes. And I talked about this just before, and it says spend time with your children. The reason this is important, I mean, in the Bible, it talks in Deuteronomy about the Lord giving us his commands and that we should impress them on your children's heart. Talk about them at home and when you walk along the road and when you lie down and when you get up. It means that you need to spend time. In order to impress something upon someone, you need to talk to them. But this says when you're sitting at home, which means you're spending time. When you're walking along the road, there's nothing to me like going for a nice, like long walk in nature. And you can learn so much. It's a time of reflecting on God's goodness, but a time when you can share together. It is so important. I always say when I speak, no child has ever said at their father's funeral, I wish he would have gone to work more. They always say, I wish we would have spent more time together. And so it is important that your children don't just remember you leaving the house, or as we say, the back of your head. They need to see your face. They need to have FaceTime. People love Facebook. They need to have FaceTime with you. Time that is spent knowing that you're having fun, you're talking, you're playing games, you're walking. Those things are very important because that says to your children, I am important. I am just as important as work to my dad. And this is another verse from the Bible, Ephesians 6, verse 4. Do not provoke your children to wrath. Anger, I think we all get angry. But the way to discipline is never in anger. And if you know that something is, a child is already at a boiling point, that is not the time to then give instructions. You probably both need to take some time apart and then you can discuss later on. But don't provoke your children to the point of, you know, extreme anger. No one profits anything from doing that, but you should bring them up in the admonition of the Lord. They should know the Lord. They should know that, this thing is displeasing to God and this is why we don't do it. But we don't need to use anger. We don't need to discipline in anger, basically. And don't provoke them. And I added this in, you pray for and with your children. As the leader of the house, God's intention was that fathers would be the figure that teaches their children how to pray and how to have a relationship with God. And as the leader of your house, I know men think that there's a lot of men, I won't say all, some men think that, praying, reading the Bible is not their thing. But the truth is that God intended for you to be the leader in these things in your household. So I am I'm imploring all the men, all the fathers, show your children the example. So your sons, when they become adults, will be leading their household also in praying and learning the word of God. All right, and demonstrate love. So this is the last one, I think. You show your children how should love each other. But for example, you teach them how to love God first, and then how to love each other, and then how to show you love, because if you're always angry, they're probably going to always be angry. So we need to show them, what does love look like? How does God love us? He loved us so much he sent his son to die. That's how much he loved us. He would do anything for us. And so we should also be showing that same kind of love to our children. As a father, you're not too soft if you hug your children and you tell your children, I love you. And especially in the Black community, I'm from the Black community, please don't think that saying I love you to your children and hugging them is a bad thing. We need to demonstrate love and to show that it is normal to show love. All right, so here we go. This is the end of it. It says, fathers, they teach, they provide, they discipline. They take time and spend time with their children. They don't provoke their children. They teach their children how to pray, and they teach their children how to love. And that's just a little bit of a wrap up on what we learned today. And then these are just, leadership in the household to their children. How I found this online. So I thought, number one, fathers give a blessing to their children. They direct their family prayers and daily scriptures. So this is going back again to what I just said. Attend church together. You can go on daddy and daughter dates. So these are some ideas, and daddy and son dates with your children. Have traditions that you build around vacations. Have one-on-one trips. It's okay to take one child somewhere and then take the other child somewhere else, depending on what they like. Teach your children the value in working in order to get what they would like to achieve. Encourage them in music and art if you are able to. And of course, attending church or temple with your children and your spouse. So these are some ideas, and we want to say thank you, daddies out there who are working hard, who are, doing all of these things. We thank you. We admire you, and we wish you all the best. So fathers, you are very important. Have a fantastic day.